Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, visiting Sparks Toyota, and I'm checking out the completely redesigned 2018 Toyota Camry. Now this one is in the SE trim level, so it has a lot of standard features, which was very surprising to me. They did a fantastic job with this vehicle in my opinion, so let's go ahead and check it out. This Camry is sitting on 235/45 Bridgestone tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a two-tone black and then the alloy popping through there, giving it a illusion of a thinner and more sportier spoke. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated disc brakes in the front and solid disc brakes in the back. The name of this color is Super White. And the thing about this vehicle, with a white color, it really helps with differentiating the black accents here on the front. So you can see the flat or the matte grille here in black, and it has this really pretty unique design here, the texturing as far as the grille. And you have the Toyota emblem there in the center. You have some more of that grille looking material here on the ends. Now the headlights are powered by LEDs for your high and your low beams, and they're in one projector tube. So it's a projector headlight system. Both your high and your low beams refocus to give you that effect. And so it's kind of simple up here with that one projector. Okay, looking at the overall style here, check out the hood. You have those lines here in the hood, kind of following from the hood over onto the side of the vehicle. Then you have those two contours. They kind of swoop around. Hopefully the camera can pick it up. There's a lot of bright light out here. And in the profile, so you can see, I guess the light is actually helping in this case, where you can see a little shadow under this line right here, and then you have that crease in the door that's a kind of a slant. Chrome around the windows there. But definitely completely changed my thoughts on the Camry. The previous models, this is totally different from those. So this is what the key looks like in this particular one. It has the lock and unlock button, the ability to open up the trunk, and there's a little Toyota emblem on the other side, and it has the switchblade style key, so that way it folds out of the way when you're not using it. Okay, let's start here on the passenger side door. Check out the inside here. Soft to the touch, all the way from the top, all the way down. Not right here, but right in here, soft to the touch, up in here. And then you have that metallic accent swooping back that kind of continues with the handle. That's pretty neat. Then you have the black accent. So it's basically a dark and a light gray with the black portions here. Handle has a little storage pocket, and then you have the pockets there at the bottom. And you notice it swoops across the front. Other cars sometimes have the storage pocket in the back, which is a little bit hard to get to. This is more in the front. You could put your cell phone or something in there, put your bottle or whatever. And you notice it's angled, so you can put your bottle of water there, and it's angled to where you can reach for it and grab it. It's pretty neat. All right, so here's your threshold. Manually adjusted seats here for the passenger side. You do have the ability to raise and lower the seat with this handle here. And then you have the Softex material with the cloth here in the center portion. Very soft to the touch dash. It's kind of like a Nerf material. And check out this accent right here. I don't know how to explain it, but it looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a just a metallic. It's not as smooth, it's not textured, but it looks kind of textured. Soft to the touch here. And then you have a lockable glove compartment, but this glove compartment's a little bit different. So let me go ahead and open it up here. So you can see it's just a flat shelf type Most glove compartments kind of go down as more of a downward slope. This one's completely flat. And then your cabin filter is located there in the very back. Okay, time for the back door. So back here, the soft to the touch surface is here on the arm. And then you have the pockets similar to the front. Of course, it's a smaller door, but I really like the way the handle kind of, you know, swoops in and continues with that metallic strip there. All right. Appears to have plenty of legroom here for the rear seat. Nice bolstering for the back seat. It does have the latch system, of course, for the car seats. And it's pretty much a bench seat. Even with the bolstering, it's pretty much you know, flat surface, so you can have a center passenger. You just have to move this armrest out of the way, or the cup holders, and then that way you can utilize that center space. Little storage pocket back here, as well as on the back of the front seats. And then you have a little hump here in the center. But overall, pretty good amount of space. Okay, let's look at the back. So you can see it has the LEDs for the third brake light here in the glass. Small deck lid spoiler across the back. Kind of give it a little bit more curvature. And you have a combination of LED and standard bulbs here for the tail lights. And this portion right here kind of resembles an airflow duct, but this is actually just for looks, basically. And it has these little vortex makers there, or vortex stabilizers. Has it next to the side mirror and also right here. This creates it's intended to create a spiral effect, which I'll put a link in the description that kind of explains it better than I possibly can. So basically helps with the aerodynamics and efficiency and stability at high speeds. It's pretty interesting. All right. You can see it has that dual exhaust tips here on the right side. Backup camera is in the very center position, just under the M. Okay, so there's no button under here to open up the trunk. There's a button in the front, in the cockpit area, and there's a button on the key. So I just push it and hold it, and it pops up. And you'll notice it goes all the way up for you, so you don't have to lift it up. Okay, so here's the inside of the trunk. There's no handle or anything here other than the emergency exit glow-in-the-dark handle. And here's your trunk space. Now I'm going to put all the volumes and the measurements and all that stuff in the description, but just to give you a visual reference here, they did a good job of maximizing the space, I think, here in the trunk. Then you have little cargo net places or tie-down spots. And it's a 60-40 split seat, so you can fold down the seats if you need to. So it's a good thing about having two separate seats fold down. You can have a combination of cargo and passenger space when you need it by folding one or the other or both down. So that way you can maintain some passenger space while adding to your cargo space, depending on your needs in the moment. Okay, so let's lift this up. And this kind of hooks right up in here, so that way you don't have to hold it up. And there's your tools for your spare tire. A little bit extra cargo space around it. And let's take a look at the spare tire by lifting this up. And there's your little donut tire, and has a little bit of space around it in case you want to cram some more stuff in there, some stuff for a trip or something. You can utilize that space, I would suppose. The fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it's lockable. And let's take a look at it. Pretty standard cap, a little tether, and a little place to hang the cap while you're pumping gas. Let's go ahead and start it up with the switchblade key here. Pretty cool. Okay, here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you can see the floor mats are snap in place, or should I say hook in place. So little things turn and you're able to release it. So that way it keeps the floor mat in place for you. And your accelerator pivots there at the bottom. That's interesting. So that way it keeps things from sliding underneath the accelerator, maybe possibly causing a problem. And there's your brake, and then this is your parking brake, foot actuated parking brake in this particular model. And then you have the foot rest here on the far left, which is a pretty decent size. Okay, so let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the right of center right in here, and just kind of push it up right here. And once you do, the hood will pretty much go up the rest of the way by itself, because it does have these shocks to hold it up. That's as far up as it goes, but I like the fact that it has two shocks stabilizing the whole hood. Okay, looking at the engine compartment, has a battery that's easy to get to, insulated firewall all the way across. You also have a brace across the strut towers here, so you can see they're braced in place and braced to each other and braced to the structure of the vehicle. You also have a seal around the outside, which is nice, kind of helps out with the noise. It also helps out with airflow, all of that good stuff. So you can say this is the inline 4 with the intake there in the front and the exhaust out the back, so that way it channels the heat away from the engine as you're driving, and just the airflow gets that exhaust heat out of the engine compartment. That way it doesn't build up or pass by the engine at all. And I like the fact that it doesn't have a huge cover. It just has a little plastic cover here, but you can actually see the engine pretty good. This Camry is powered by a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, dual overhead cam, dual injection, and dual VVT, pumping out 203 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. And it's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Okay, here's the inside of the driver's side door. It's just like the other side basically, except for it has a few more buttons. Now all the power windows are automatic, one touch. So just push it one time and it goes down, push it up one time and it comes up nice and smooth. Then your door lock controls, your side mirrors are adjusted with this little joystick. You just turn it to pick a side and then you can adjust whichever one you want. So it has a power seat here for the driver with power lumbar adjustment. You can see the seat a little bit better on this side, I think, because of the shadows on the other side were kind of interfering with the camera. There's a little bit of a suede portion right in here. And you see the headrest actually kind of contours into the seat a little bit. Instead of this separate entities just kind of popping up and floating there, this is kind of more contoured and fluid. Okay, so to the left of the steering column, you have the ability to have the automatic high and low beams. Right here, you can turn that feature on and off. Traction control, you can turn off. Default will always be on. ability to open up the trunk and the fuel door, and a little storage pocket right in here. Gonna put some spare change or whatever. And then to adjust the steering column, you just release that little lever, lift it up and down, or you can telescope it. Then you lock it in place when you're finished. Really easy to lock in and unlock too. Okay, let's take a look here on the inside. And wow, look at the styling here on the inside. You have that swoop down portion for the passenger, and then you have this this wave going on right here, that curvature, kind of dividing up everything in kind of a unique way. So I have the seat adjusted. The seat is quite comfortable actually, and you know, the bolsters are not like really intrusive or anything. I have the lumbar adjusted and the seat adjusted. Now I have the seat a little bit further back than what I would normally drive, just so I can film a little bit better, but you can see my knee room and leg room. Actually, I can put my leg all the way straight out. So plenty of leg room and just overall space in this vehicle. So looking at the steering wheel, it's a leather wrap steering wheel, soft to the touch and grippy too. It kind of has this little bit of a like a super fine sandpaper feel, so that way you can really, but not in a bad way, just like a if you've ever felt that super fine polishing sandpaper, this still feels smooth, but yet you have a little grip on it. That's kind of what it reminds me of, soft to the touch, and just a pretty good thickness. It's not the thickest steering wheel in the world, but it is thick enough, especially considering it has a soft feel to it, so it's not going to dig into your hands like a super thin steering wheel would that's hard. Okay, so here on the right side is your cruise control. Now this one has the adaptive cruise control, so you can set it, turn on your radar system, and then it also has the lane departure assist system, and you can turn that feature on and off here. These buttons on the bottom across here and here are for your radio. So there's your volume, there's your voice recognition, and then it continues on your mode like AM, FM, and then this is the change through your audio tracks or your radio station, whichever you happen to be in. Here on the left side, you have these buttons, and this little back button correspond with a screen between the gauges, which we'll get to in just a minute. And then you have the ability to answer and make calls using the little phone button right here. Mostly answer. You would make calls with your voice recognition typically. And it also has the paddle shifters on the very back. So right here, and they kind of contour back around right in here. So they kind of stick up here, but then they contour closer to the steering wheel. So that way it kind of doesn't get in your way and it's easy to access. Windshield wiper control is there on the right side. Now I just want to mention, typically Toyotas had the cruise control little knob that sticks out here. This is the first time I've seen it transition, instead of there, actually buttons on the steering wheel. So this is, you know, breaking ground for the 30-year change here. So thought that was pretty neat. Okay, so your turn signal is right here, and it has your headlight controls with the ability to turn off your daytime run lights. Then you have automatic parking light, and then you can turn on your headlights like so. Right in back here, kind of hidden from sight, especially from the camera, and actually from myself too, I'm going to kind of move it down, is the basically the dimmer for your interior gauges, and then your trip. Now you can just reach up and feel it pretty good, but as far as seeing it, it's kind of hidden unless you know right where it is. All right. Okay, so here's your gauges. Pretty simple design, you know, the black background, the white lettering. It does have the white around the outside dial, just kind of giving you a more defined look, I suppose. RPMs there on the left with your engine coolant temperature, and there on the right side is your speedometer with the fuel gauge. Very simple, easy to see and find, and transition your eyes from the road to the gauges back and forth. But this little gauge, this little screen here in the center between the gauges gives you a little bit more information when you need it. You don't always have to go in there. But using these buttons right here with the back button going to kind of go through it because it's kind of like a menu system. See that little scroll bar there on the right side? So let's go ahead and scroll down. So you can see this is part of a whole, you know, bunch of different information on this info tab. So there's different tabs at the top. So right now we're scrolling through and getting information in the info tab. Scrolling to the right, the next tab over, we have the information as far as your lane departure assist, which is only available at higher speeds. I think it's over 30-some miles an hour. And then you have your radar control, which you can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. So pushing the button on the steering wheel kind of set the distance at which you want the vehicle to follow the vehicle in front of you, and, you know, not close in the space. Scrolling to the right, this is where stored messages will show up. Going again, this is your settings. So you can go in there and actually fine tune some of this stuff. So lane departure assist, we can go in there and we can change different settings on that, the sensitivity and such. We can also do the pre-collision system. So this is a default is on, so we can actually turn this off. We can also change the sensitivity of that as well. Scrolling to the right again will bring us back to the information tab. So pretty easy once you get used to it. You just have the tabs at the top, and then you scroll different information in a particular tab or file folder or whatever you want to call it. And none of that stuff you have to go in there. You don't have to do it. It's just there in case you want to go in there and change a setting or something. Alright, looking at the center stack again, really interesting design. Really stood out to me as soon as I opened the door and looked in. Alright, so you have the traditional volume knob up right up here. Tune through the stations is below it, so that's a little bit non-traditional, but it does have a knob. And these are actual physical buttons here on the sides. And there's your touch screen in the center. So this is your home screen here, so it has a split between your radio, your phone connection, and then your trip information, your trip computer, I guess you can say. And then it has the clock in that stationary position that's easy to get to, and it's kind of large. So we can make selections. So like right now we'll go into the radio just to kind of see what that looks like. You have your presets over here now, and then you can change your source, all the different information here. You can go into your sound and adjust that. You're like your bass and treble. Push your source, so we can see AM, FM, USB, Bluetooth, and auxiliary inputs here. Go back home. Let's go to the little computer here. So it shows average speed, elapsed time, range. You can show your history, miles per gallon, all that stuff. I don't have a phone connected right now, but once the phone is connected, you'll have your information here as far as contacts, recent calls, your caller ID, all that. Push the menu button here, and this will go into different icons, I guess you could say. So you can quickly go into your phone, your audio, setup. Let's go to apps. Now, this vehicle does not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but it does have the ability to connect a cell phone with the Intune app. So you have the Intune app on your cell phone, you can plug it in and you can kind of project information here on the screen. I haven't used it, but that's what I hear. Now later on, this will actually update. This screen I suppose will eventually be able to update and have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Not 100% on that, but I think that's what the plan is in the future. Let's go into setup so we can see all the different options here that you can change. All right, then you can go into your audio, information, and then you can change your tracks, your phone, and your apps. All these external buttons, just kind of quick way of getting there. But there's your home screen. Okay, so your climate control is just below. Your temperature is on this side. Your fan speed is on that side. And it has a little readout here showing you what's going on. You can turn off your fan if you want. Where you want the air to blow, front and rear defrosters, and then recirculate the air right in here. So right down here is this little rubber tray, and it's quite grippy. So if you put your cell phone down, it's not going to slide around. And you can plug it in right here with the USB port and a auxiliary input. And then you also have a 12-volt power supply right there. And then this, you can open it up, and it has this little storage pocket. You kind of open and close that like so. Cup holders are here. And you notice it's open in the center, so that way you can utilize the space for more than just cups. And it has little portions here that are spring loaded, so it accommodates different size cups. Okay, so here's your shifter. Pretty neat looking shifter, and it just kind of slides forward and back instead of the, following the path like previous models. So let's go ahead and put it in reverse. Check out the backup camera. You can see pretty good. I mean, it's not an active guideline system, but it does have the guidelines there. But you can see from the bumper all the way to the sky and all the way around. Really helps out, of course, with the backing up, so you can see right behind the vehicle. Neutral, there's your drive position. This is your normal drive position. It's going to cycle through the 8 gear ratios automatically. If you want to manually do it, you can put it in here as sport mode, use the paddle shifters, or you can simply bump the shifter like a ratchet shifter, change the gears that way. Okay, so here's your center armrest, and look at there, it goes all the way forward and back. As far as the length is really long, and it's soft, and I think it's might be big enough to share with your passenger, depending on how generous you are. But this lifts up like so, and a storage compartment. See if the camera will focus. This is basically all black on the inside with a felt lining down in here, and the felt lining is removable, so you can like pick it up and clean it, put it back in. Maybe you can see in there a little bit better now, because the non-reflective surfaces, it's hard for the camera to focus on. Okay, so here's the rear view mirror. This is a manual day and night mode. Then you have your tap lights, interior LED lights, and a place to put some shades. You push it in and has a felt lining, kind of like a pool table felt in there. And the visors have mirrors, and a little extender right here, kind of extends out, give you some extra coverage. Okay, so let's look in the back, visibility now. All right, so you can see those back pillars are not that big, so you can kind of see around them quite well. Headrest getting away a little bit, but that's to be expected, especially if you have passengers back there. Their heads are going to get in the way anyway. So, not too shabby overall, in my opinion. Of course, you have the backup camera that helps out with backing up in the parking lot or whatever. All right, so there you have it. So this is the 2018, of course, Toyota Camry. And I'm really impressed with it. This is not the real high-end model, but it does give you a lot of options. The comfort, the style. I mean, it has the radar cruise control, the LED headlights, and the projectors. Lane departure assist. Just a really fantastic car, I think. And I think it's going to, continue to be a bestseller here in the United States anyway. So anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you to Sparks Toyota here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, for allowing me to show off this vehicle. And I'll see you guys next time. Really like the steering in this car. It's one thing you can kind of tell driving through parking lots is how the steering is, because once you get out on the road and you're going, you know, highway speeds or whatever, the steering wheel is pretty much easy to turn anyway, even if you don't even have power steering. So going at low speeds, kind of cruising through the parking lot, really shows you what the power steering is going to do. Now this one has the electric power steering, which a lot of new vehicles do, and it's very smooth and comfortable, easy to turn. There's no straining the engine like, say, some of the, you know, hydraulic ones in the past. As you make a turn at short speeds or slow speeds, it's going to put a little bit of strain on the engine because it has to build up that pressure in the hydraulic system. With the electric power steering, it does not have that problem at all. The electric motor, you know, maintains that pressure all the time, so really easy to drive. And the 8-speed transmission, from my experience of it so far, has just been really good. I mean, that's a lot of gears. The higher end gears are going to be more for the highway use, you know. But as far as it shifting and stuff, it sounds good, and it seems to shift at a good rapid pace. So that way it's not there's no wasted energy as far as the engine between shifts. Just kind of experience a little bit here. Speed bumps. That's another thing. They completely redesigned the suspension in the car. So let's see what it feels like here. Alright, so that pretty much stayed in first gear the whole time, but at least you were able to hear the exhaust a little bit. It's not a of course it's not like a race car or anything, but I wanted to just kind of give a little bit of gas so you just hear the shift and hear the engine and all that. Let's see if we can get it going here. Okay, so it shifted a couple times there. It's very smooth, and when looking at the tachometer there, you can see the needle moves quick. As soon as it goes into that next gear, it's just a bam, you know. There's no lag or anything like that. So putting it in sport mode, so right now it's in 4th gear. Let's bump that down to 1st gear. Yeah, it's just that same quickness. But anyways, just kind of driving it around, just kind of get an idea of what it's all about, what it sounds like, what it feels like. Maybe I'll have an opportunity to do an extended test drive. It's pretty much bumper to bumper traffic right now today, but maybe we'll be able to do a more extended test drive later on in another future video. But hopefully this has been helpful.